where do you see the future of Tijuana? Do you think one day it'll go back to like those like glory days of just like, San Diegans coming over here and drinking and eating and carefree and going back?
Well, we're going through a process right now where, there's $1 million, starting point as far as buying a house in San Diego. That's why you have a bunch of high rises here in Tijuana. So we already have an influx of people, not just coming here for the tourism, but actually living here from the U.S. They discovered the secret to the matrix. Work in California and live in Tijuana. So that's the secret to the matrix. So in a lot of ways, it's already happening. It's just in a different way. That's why you see all these apartment buildings coming up. It's turning into a different thing. It used to be a party town. Now it's better than $1 million house in San Diego. People are living down here now. You're starting to see that prices up here are going up as far as real estate as well. So I think Tijuana is becoming a weird, host city for the economically displaced of California, and not just California, but like from other parts of the world. So I think it's just changing in that regard. Just changing into what it is.
Are there any states in Mexico that you would not travel to, or that you are very careful about traveling to?
Michoacan right now is pretty delicate. It is there's trench warfare happening in Michoacan right now. That's how serious it is in some places. And again, probably a few of your viewers are going to say, I go down there to visit my family all the time. You probably do, and your families are locals, and they keep you away from the dangerous things. There's trench warfare happening in Michoacan at the moment. There's drones being weaponized with pesticides, not just explosive, but chemical weapons being utilized with drones, and there's basically it's open warfare down there.
So, outside of Morelia, I assume.
Yeah, we're talking about some of the rural parts of Michoacan. There's places in Sinaloa that I probably wouldn't go to myself. But again, there's a lot of parts of Mexico that are pretty off limits, if only because of the risk that entails, because they're front lines between not just rival cartel factions, but also the government. So it's like a free-for-all in some of these places. It's not all over Mexico. Just like I wouldn't judge the whole of the United States over an experience I had in Detroit, but it is very prevalent in a lot of parts of Mexico where some of these cartel forces basically own the territory. They're the government. They're the police. Right? You see a roadblock and you see red and blue lights, and it's not la policía federal. It's soldados con tenis is what we call them. Soldiers with sneakers, basically cosplaying cartel guys with Marina uniforms. That's a place that's pretty dangerous.
I think another big topic that that is not talked about enough is like China's involvement, and like with all this new, not new, but with their, because they source a lot of the fentanyl.
So fentanyl being pumped into the country, and also fentanyl manufacturing, which was taught to local cartels, Mexican cartels, by Chinese chemists. Yeah, when weed was legalized, a lot of the weed fields turned into poppy fields. When the prescription opiate epidemic kind of went down because of all the crackdown on it, they were looking for an option, and people put two and two together, and it's like, well, we can grow poppies here in Mexico. They're not as strong as some of the heroin out there, so let's lace it with some fentanyl to give it a kick. Boom.
Are you scared at all, Ed, of like your past coming back to haunt you?
Always.
Yeah. How do you live like that?
If I couldn't live with that, I wouldn't have gone into that line of work. Everything has a cost. The peace of mind that I have is that I never took anything that wasn't mine. I was never on the take. I did my job. I did it professionally. I have a good reputation still inside of there, like where I worked. So some of my bosses and stuff like that know of me. I never did anything personal. I didn't get rich off it. Obviously, I left that job with my truck and a few $1,000s in my pocket, and migrated to the U.S. Basically went out there. I remember I migrated during the election of Trump, which is probably one of the worst times in history to kind of migrate to the U.S. But yeah, I mean, the fear that I have right now is that I'm very vocal about certain issues related to Mexico and the United States, specifically the border. I'm very vocal about some of the things that I've found as far as foreign governments putting things into Mexico that then end up in the U.S., like to China. If anything, I'm worried about that. It's hard to go through the experiences that I went through and be silent about them, specifically because I want to make a difference, specific from where I'm from and what I saw and what I'm starting to see in the U.S. as warning signs. I could go and hide in a hole for the rest of my life, but what type of life would that be? Anybody that says I wouldn't be afraid they're lying to you. But fear is a pretty powerful motivator, and it keeps you keeps you sharp.
If someone wanted to come to Tijuana to eat tacos and how we're doing, what would you tell them? Like how to?
First thing is you can't travel with your normal. You can't pack your normal. If you are accustomed to being stopped by the police and having them give you a ticket and everything's fine, everything's on body cameras and you feel safe and everything like that, if you're accustomed to that, Tijuana is not that. Tijuana normal is a very abnormal thing for most people. So don't impose your normal to the city. Tijuana is its own thing. Yeah, police are corrupt here. Yeah, there's criminality and common criminality in the city, but the people are very friendly. Most people are very friendly. Most people here are bilingual, just culturally bilingual. My English comes from me growing up in Tijuana. I went to language school, but specifically, it was Tijuana in its roots is basically a welcoming city because we thrive on people coming here. Not just by tourism, but also immigrants. We have a major Haitian immigration into Tijuana right now. So there's the Haitians working at taco spots and Haitians opening up their own Haitian food places. People from Tijuana eating there and the Haitians eating at the Tijuana taco place. There's an example of some of the culture that we've been absorbing from other places. We have Asians, we have, from all over the world. I've met people from all over the world that live in Tijuana. So we're very welcoming as a city, but with that comes, a giant local drug market that has created some violence, specifically in the eastern parts of the city. And yeah, it has issues. Tijuana has issues, definitely has issues. We can't ignore them. But I feel perfectly safe going out and having some tacos in Tijuana. Maybe it's because I'm local and my normal is different than most people. What advice do I have for people? Carry the cash that you are not going to be sorry about losing. Get a prepaid phone travel debit card, and don't travel with your regular cards. And get a traveler's phone. Refurbished smartphone on eBay. If you're not going to be worried about losing, be friendly, smile at people, have things, invest in people is something I usually say. Every time I travel, every time I'm out there, I usually have some things that I give away to people. Why? Just make friends in places. You'd be surprised how friendly people are here once you learn to receive them with a buenos dias or good morning, or a buenas tardes or good afternoon, and just start a conversation. People are very open here. Very open. It's all about having the right attitude, not being judgmental, and just realizing that your normal doesn't apply here.
And enjoying the tacos, right?
And enjoying the most fire tacos and diverse taco culture that you're going to see out there, which is, again, Tijuana is basically a city of migrants. And, just with these few taco spots we've hit, we've met people from Oaxaca, from Sonora, from Puebla, and all of them have a different style, all of them have a different flavor to what they make. And one of the best things about Tijuana is we have the ocean right there, so all the seafood is fresh. And a lot lot of the beef coming from the northern part of the country is probably some of the best beef produced in Mexico. So ingredients are fire. People coming here with talents, culinary talents, and influences from other parts of the country are fire. And we're right on the border, and there's a lot of taco spots, so the competition is pretty high. So people have to up their game if they want to remain open here. So perfect storm for a taco guy. Perfect storm.
Well, thank you so much for your time, man. I think, are you hungry? Should we go eat some more tacos?
Yeah, let's go hit up some of those out of the way spots.